All right, thank you. I'm telling David Pitchford. I think a couple Larrys in there among the Davids. But, I'm David Johnston. I grew up around the Annapolis, Maryland area. And I've been a software engineer. When I stopped writing lines of code, I stopped having fun, became a systems engineer. Now I call myself a technical migrant farmer because I'm always looking for my better gig. In fact, I tried to resign from my current job twice. Second time, I had to say I want to retire, kind of like Tom Brady, the NFL quarterback. And then he unretired, and I think his supermodel wife just divorced him. I'm not going to have that problem. But I had a couple dating jokes, and on the way back to the hotel, someone went over them with him and said, "No, you got to scratch that joke." And my dating adventures just don't end well; they just end prematurely. So I came up with a bunch of car jokes so that I could suck up to Jay Leno. Fortunately for him, he's not here. But, unfortunately for you, you all are here. And I guess Adam's here. That you count, right? Does Adam count? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for being here. So what do you do with cars? You drive them around and the police pull you over. And I've been pulled over like 15 or 20 times. And I pull some real crap when I get pulled over. Because I'm a white guy, and for all you guys of color, don't do what I do. But one of the stories was, all right, I'm driving to meet my brother somewhere and get pulled over, and the policeman said, "I'm going to reduce the speed of this, so it'll knock a point off. And don't you dare go into court." And I took that as a dare. So I show up in court, and there's the cop. And what I do, my shtick was, before you had digital displays, you got analog speedometers, and I just pull the steering wheel down, because I'm like 5'3", and I cut off the top of the speedometer. So I never really know how fast I'm going. So the thing I do in court, when they ask me, "Do you know how fast you're going?" I said, "I have no idea, Your Honor." Okay? And so the policeman shows up, and he went first, I think. Said I was going like, I don't know, 37 and a third, whatever, 35. And then when I said my shtick, he's getting really upset, and he tells the judge that he was really going 47. And then I said, "It sounds like, Your Honor, no one here knows how fast I was going." And the judge really didn't like what he did, and I got out of that one. But then let's see. One time I was in my Porsche 944. Sounds cool, but it was like over 10 years old. It was like 12 years old. And there's a minivan in front of me, and I like to have like clear sailing. There's like 4 or 5 lanes on I-95, like the 5 here. So, and when I was in this Porsche 944, it must have been 12, 14 years old, people in the DC Beltway are tailgating me. And if I can look at the driver, and if they're young enough, I'll just brake check the hell out of them. And that makes them back off. But in this case, I've got some crazy guy, and we're probably doing close to 80. And I finally found the next to fast lane of the fast lane. And I just couldn't shake this guy. And he was like hanging right off my bumper. And it was a policeman, okay? So it's like, all right, I got to go to court and see what I can make out of this. I mean, some of the skills you have up here, maybe you can use them in traffic court. But you got to be careful. So I looked, and it was like a base 944, and I looked at what the current horsepower of like a Honda Accord was. And it was more than my car. So we go into court, and there's a state trooper talking about what I was doing. And I said, Your Honor, whenever I drive that damn car, people are tailgating the hell out of me. And it's like, and I would like to ask the state trooper, just how far off my bumper were you at 80 miles an hour? And it's like, he created such an unsafe situation, I wanted to get away from that lunatic, okay? And the judge just listens to me and cuts off the point. The state trooper's fuming at me again. So, depending on what you look like, you don't look like me, don't pull that shit. Anyway, my friends and I, when we're in our 20s, we go to these police auctions in DC, and this is like the opposite of Carfax, because you don't know what the heck's wrong with these cars. And we bought probably a dozen cars, like for the price of back then VCRs. And a friend of mine once bought a 61 Cadillac limo with little fins on it. My father said all the diplomats in DC would love to have that car. And they were like, we bought it for $85, and we drove it into Georgetown one night. I'm just waving to people as we go by. But I wanted to learn how to drive a manual transmission car. So I bought like a 72 Celica with a 4-speed. And my friend and I went out to dinner, and we're having a couple pitchers of margaritas. And Ken, I'd like to go figure out if I could finally learn how to drive a manual transmission car, because I think I'm loosened up now. So we went back to my apartment, picked up my car, and we had an office party to go to about 20 miles away. So I am, red light on. So we're driving there, and I can't drive in first gear too well. So I'm stalling the car out. My friend Ken says, stop, turn around. This is a sobriety checkpoint. And he's right. And the hood on the car was a green trunk lid on a yellow car held on with a coat hanger. And the policeman couldn't believe this car was roadworthy. And the only thing that saved me was some crazy guy running the checkpoint at speed. And the policeman looked at him and said, Ken, can you drive this car? I said, sure. Then we went to the office party and had a good time. But red light's coming on. I got more material, but thank you for being a good audience.
David Johnston. Coming to the stage, Ginger Joseph.